Hello friends, I'm Saket Bansal and I'm back with a video. And today I have Ritu Shukla with me. She is involved with us. She has been coaching our teams in Bridge. And nowadays I'm getting a frequent question from our clientele that how do they remain focused in such an uncertain, difficult environment? Some of the client comes and says, I have lots of time, but looks like I have no time. I am ending up not doing whatever I used to do before. So how do I remain focused in such an uncertain time? So I thought, why don't I have this conversation with Ritu and share what we feel, like she feels as well as I feel about this particular topic. Now, before we get into details, why not Ritu, you introduce yourself and then I get started with the conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Saket. I have been part of Bridge for about more than a year now. I have been coaching your team in Bangalore. I'm also engaging with your team in Delhi, and it's been quite a, I think, mutually productive journey for both of us. In my personal space, I'm a psychotherapist, so that's also one of my roles that I have, and I'm a facilitator also. Anything else? I think this is good enough.
Good enough.
For now.
So
Yeah.
let's zoom in directly into the question. So how one remain focused in such an uncertain time, difficult time? What is your opinion?
Yes. So I think the word focus, I'll share how I look at focus, and maybe because it is a word which can have multiple meanings. For me, from the space that I come from, focus would mean being grounded. Focus would mean being able to connect with what's happening. So if we look at the scenario, what's happening really around us, we are in extraordinary times, unprecedented times. If 4-5 months ago somebody would have said something like this is going to hit us, we would have just laughed it away. But right now, I many times feel like I am part of some scientific fiction, sci-fi way. We are running against time and we got to keep it in control. And when I think most of people are aware of this movie Contagion, and we see, my God, it looks so much like that movie. So for me, where, the space that I come from and where often clients come with, how do I remain motivated? How do I remain productive? There are a lot of things. So one of the things that comes to me, and you can also add to it, how you look at the word focus, is how do I engage with my environment, because there is no boundary left, Sakib. Earlier we used to go to office, so it was very clear. Focus was so easy. Even if there is something not okay at home, there is a challenge at home, we would leave all of it, go to office, and then we could switch off. But now it's not possible. The boundaries are totally blurred. So in between, like you mentioned, while you may be doing something at home and suddenly there's a call, so there's no clear boundary. By in the midst of taking care of a child, you're coming here. So how do I engage with both the worlds simultaneously in a way which is productive as much as it can be, and which doesn't at least sap my energy away if I look at myself as an individual? Yeah. So for example, I have my clinic, which is not at home, but right now I have to meet clients virtually. Yeah, whether it's coaching, whether it's or even going for meetings. And so how do I remain grounded? How do I be present in every moment that I am? I think I'm looking at these aspects. And there are a lot of things that I practice for myself to be present in the moment so that I can engage fully. For example, right now I'm with you while we are at home, So these are aspects that come up for me when I look at focus. Would you like to share anything from your perspective? What does focus mean to you?
Sure. So the basic thing which I feel when people and professionals ask this question to me is that how they remain motivated and can develop a capability of doing a task at a given point in time, because there are so many distractions happening around. And I can see your perspective of a lot of lives are getting integrated now. Like earlier we could compartmentalize our office, home, say fitness, and all those things can have a different buckets, but now everything is mixed up. and one stress or a one dysfunction is going into another dysfunction. So you can't just make them into a separate box. And for some of the professionals, that might be the challenge, because you see everything mixed up, and you might be wondering, okay, how do I deal with it? How do I categorize these things again? Or even in a mixed up situation, how do I perform my job? So there could be both the possible alternatives for individuals. In my view, I do see people coming up with these things. And one of the things which is troubling in my view is that not having some predictability of the day. So the routines are not in place. So how the day will start and how the day will end and what happens in between is all blurred. So there are many individuals who get into multiple things at the same time and then realize, oh, the whole day was not productive. So the people whom I was talking to, some of them got benefit by putting up some structure in place, at least few things which they could repeat on a regular basis. And one of the things which became quite popularly coming out was that following some fitness regime. So if you end up doing, say, 1 hour of exercise or yoga in a day, and you can consistently do it every day, that itself brings a lot of structure for many professionals. Yeah.
Sure, totally agree with you on this. I think, like we say, mind, body, and spirit, and how, or in other language, thinking, feeling, doing. Yeah. And I think exercising or taking care of our physical health is most important, physical as well as mental. And I really like this idea of having some kind of a structure, because when we were going out to work, we had a structure, and a structure imposed on us. And for people who are not very self-disciplined, and the intent is not to say that they lack it, yet it was an outside structure that helped us work around, they might be actually finding it difficult. And so there's lots happening, but no sense of achievement. So I think I'd second you on what you said, is to have some kind of a timetable or goal for the day, or a structure. And I think beginning the day with an exercise or a walk, or music, or breathing exercise is something very good. And I must tell you, Saket, I in these times I started chanting mantras, something that really gave me a lot of, I would say, positive energy. And I'm a very, I won't say atheist, but I'm more of a spiritual person. Even though I'm a Hindu by birth, I believe in a superpower. Yeah. And so this is a change that happened to me. And in the morning, I do go out, I do some mild breathing and practice mantras, and that does give me an energy. And this works for me. So what I'm saying is, it works for me. What works for you? If it's listening to music, considering that many of our people are not even able to step out of their apartments, which are very, very small. One of the things that has helped us to have clear, space of work, even in a small area. So this is my workspace, and the boundary gets established. And that is the area where maybe we can sit and talk or play with children or chill. Otherwise, if I'm sitting in a chilling area, it will impact, and one thing, that I just remembered, I have been I follow Marshall Goldsmith, and they have their, live sessions every day. One thing he said that he has learned from his wife is, every morning, she says, what are the 3 things that I can do today over which I have control? I really like those. I really like that tip. I think, yes, 3 things over which I have control. That brings in a sense of grounding, that there are certain things which are in my control, because there are a lot of things which aren't.
Great.
So, yeah.
So I'm picking up 2 things from your conversation. One is that, especially if you are working from home and your both the things are getting mixed up, so you may have a designated area which you keep it separate for office or work related activities, and you psychologically attach doing work from that space. So whenever you enter in that space, you get focused. Okay, here is I am working. And when you
yeah,
move out of that particular corner or a place, is you are clear that okay, you are doing something else. And you
yeah,
can, one can mix the structure as well as this corner together, so you have some structure that okay, from what time to what time I'm going to sit in that particular corner, and then when I can step out and do the things. Yeah, so that's the second thing which I'm picking. So first was a structure and second was a corner. And the third thing which is coming out is having some set of self coaching questions. So it could be okay, what are the three things which I can do today which are under control, which is under my
yeah,
control, and better I focus on my priority there. So there could be many such coaching questions which are like a self coaching question, which can
yeah.
help one to remain focused or remain in reality or here and now, whatever the word one may like to see. Great.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Yes, I mean here and now, and I think we both come from that framework where the here and now is so important. I think more important than any other time that we are living in, and we don't know how it's going to change.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm.
and how the new world will be. What is the new normal going to be? It will perhaps emerge. You
Perfect.
know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
yeah. I think. Even that sometimes takes the focus away. What I have
sure.
experienced, sometimes people say that there is an anxiety, I don't know where we are going, and while especially from business leaders and people who are leading team, there is an expectation from the team members or from the people to show them the path, you know
Mm-hmm,
so what, and this is my thinking again, to say yes, this is happening. So positivity also has its limit. It's not that yeah,
mm-hmm,
things are going to be
mm-hmm,
fine. Yes,
mm-hmm,
there is a reality,
mm-hmm.
and yet there are possibilities.
Sure. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
reality, which is overwhelming. So not to say that, oh, it's not impacting me. Yes, there is an impact, and just saying that grounds us.
Okay. Yeah.
Just saying that yes, there is a reality which is unsettling the entire world. We are together in it. Yes, and
Great.
and
Yeah.
and once I think saying that, and yet then we can be fully available. Then we say yes, there is a reality. Now, what are my possibilities?
Mm-hmm,
Possibilities, because
mm-hmm,
uh, there is no set answer. There is no yes and no now.
mm-hmm.
We can just explore with what is available in the moment to us. Yes.
Okay, so the I think again, it looks like the two things are emerging from this particular conversation as well. One thing
Yes.
is that there is a lot of information overload and there is a lot of
Yeah.
uncertainties around the world. And if
Yeah.
one remain engaged and keep watching news and keep reading about it, there
Yes.
could be a lot of confusion because like media channels and all those people are doing their job. They need to keep feeding you with some information, but you may not need all those information all the time. You can take it from in some durations, in some frequency, rather than keep watching it again and again. And that creates a sense of, oh, we don't know where we are going, what is happening. So then the one may find difficult, more and more difficult to handle it. Another thing which you are telling is that yeah, so you should acknowledge the reality as well. So rather than denying it, no, everything will be going to be fine, next month we are going for a vacations and let dream about it. So that can also create a false sense of optimism. So one has to acknowledge that yes, there is an uncertainty, but I don't have to look at that uncertainty all the time. And I start focusing on what can be done now, what is possible today, what are the three things I can do today, what is the current reality with me, and I move on. And I also don't consume the information which is coming around me at very frequent intervals, because that is not becoming productive for me.
Totally. I was reading this term in Harvard. It's called unproductive paralysis,
Mm-hmm,
unproductive uncertainty. So
mm-hmm,
it kind of paralyzes the people, and I think there is some kind of what should I say, excitement people get out of feeding on negative news. So that's definitely going to impact a person's even decision taking capacity. I think to be able to take that much information only as is needed,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
to stay at home and support. How can
Okay.
we support? Yes. I think though we are talking about focus, and I look at it as a very large word, because world is wanting to focus. The question that you asked and we are discussing. and I'd also like to hear from you. I think in this moment, certain things uh, which are inherent in our culture. Our culture is a
Mm-hmm.
very resilient culture, you know. And if we look at our culture, we have inbuilt resilience in our own system. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to look outside, look within. We
Okay.
can't go
Yeah.
outside, we can't look outside. We can, where can we travel? You know, we've those quotes. Let's travel within. Uh, there is an inherent resilience that we do carry in our symptoms, in our
Mm-hmm.
bodies, in our systems, you know, and that can be a resource.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, so these are things that are coming up for me as I am, you know, engaging in this. I would use the word engaging because initially it looked like, oh gosh, now what? All the programs are cancelled. Where am I going? But in this phase, I was able to create a lot of new programs also. So
Mm-hmm.
this is also a period of pause and regeneration,
Perfect.
especially for people who have been overworking, you know,
Mm-hmm.
individually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think just continuing on that note, for organizations also to be large-hearted, generous, profit. This is not the time really to be selling stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, these are just so focus can be how do we take the world forward because that's the way forward for all of us.
Sure. Sure.
I think these are just random ideas, but I'm just putting it out to you.
Great.
Yeah, and
So
you also respond. Yeah,
if I structure the whole thing till now, what we have discovered is one is about the structure. We spoke
yeah,
about that. There is some routine of a structure, and then we spoke about putting up some space, yeah, some
yeah,
corner and dividing the things, and then you know when to get in and get out. And then we spoke about some level of self-coaching thing. So you may have some set of questions which may work as a reminder. One can make a note of it, make a sticky of it, paste it in their work area so that they remember it more and more frequently. And then we spoke about that avoidance of information overload because a lot of things are coming. And then the fifth thing we spoke about is also acknowledging the reality. So yes, there is an uncertainty and there is uncertainty in the reality, current reality, but also see what is possible today. So in a way, linked with the coaching conversation, and also start seeing the wider space because there is a possibility. It's the sixth thing which is emerging, that in the normal routine life one might be just looking at the world from one view, and
yeah,
they never looked at in a different way. But this kind of situation where all of your earlier assumptions no more hold true gives you an opportunity to see the whole your own life as well as your work as well as an environment from a different perspective. And that's what's possible. An opportunity could be that, okay, why I have been doing this work all the time, what should I do with my rest of the life? Yeah. And I
yeah.
have been talking to some of my friends, and many of us discuss that, okay, I'm thinking what should I do with my rest of life. I have been busy all the time doing this. Do I want to spend my rest of the life in the same way I used to do before this event? And I don't know, at least in my circle, few may change their path, yeah,
Yeah.
based on
There
based
is,
on what,
yeah.
what they have been doing. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. In fact, change is the only constant. And who would have thought that this kind of a change will be required from us? You know, you and I come from this learning and development space where it was easier to tell people that change is the only constant, but this is what it is. And yeah, in fact, in one of the coaching conversations, um, one of the coaches said that I don't have a sense of achievement at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
which I would have, you know. And there's one more because we are talking about tools. One of the tools of NLP that has helped me and helped a lot of other people, we call it reframing. So what really achievement is? If I'm a salesperson, if numbers are my achievement, then I will feel worthless.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so busy, and right now I am with my family. I have my children around. I'm safe. Uh, uh, you know, if I were able to look at what are the things that I'm doing, if I can reframe the word achievement, if
Mm-hmm.
numbers, profits, if I don't change my frame of reference, then I'll keep feeling worthless. And I'm coming back to it. How will I focus on work? Because it may not match to what pre-corona, you know, and post-corona era.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of reframing is needed for organizations, I believe, for individuals, because it will help us then focus better. Then, because we, as human beings, we need a sense of achievement. We need to
Mm-hmm.
feel good about ourselves. It's a very inherent need to feel motivated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is again one
Yeah,
thing I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's like that. I think it relates with I have been reiterating that that the
Yeah.
situation is challenging our existing assumptions and making us individuals see the world from a different perspective. And the assumptions were also related with what is success, what is good, what is
Yeah.
granted, what is so all those things are like what were my skills, what is my worth. So all those things are getting
Yeah.
challenged. Yeah.
Challenge
Like
them.
we
Yeah.
are approaching towards the closer. So anything else coming in your mind which you would like to share?
Yeah, I think I've shared all most of the things that I also I have applied,
Mhm.
and I have found them useful, and I'm also waiting and watching like everyone else. I'm also part of the same world, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
waiting to see what emerges.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever will emerge, we shall overcome. That is what I'd like to say at the end. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And what I feel, and I have been talking to my teams and as well as my professional clients who have been doing programs and all. So I believe this particular situation is going to test individuals and organizations as well, because
Of course.
I end up running organization as well from three dimensions. So it's going to check your like physical immunity. Can you really remain immune from the surrounding virus or whatever it is? And it is also going to test your mental immunity. Yeah, so can you really sustain the amount of stress and uncertainty which the situation will bring on you? And third is a financial immunity as well. Yeah, so especially for an enterprises. So I think the companies, and at some extent it is also applied to individuals as well. Maybe enterprise and mid-sized enterprise will get tested for all these three more, but somewhere it also applies to all of the population which is going through. So it's just not a one-sided issue. It's not about just health. It's about well-being, mental focus, as well as the financial focus. And ultimately, I have been talking to my teams and professionals. These all three are also related. So one trigger can influence the another trigger. And ultimately, I keep reminding myself, I need to manage all three. And what do I do to manage all three is something which defines me, because the people who can't manage these three well may suffer more once it gets over. So it's a word, and the fitness in all these three dimensions will get tested. So my
Yeah.
advice is that, yeah, these are the nice pointer which we discussed, and then find out your own way. Think about, possibly, again, you may have your own dimensions. These are three dimensions coming from me, and think about these, and probably you will find more ideas. How do you manage your motivation, focus for what you do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. So it was nice,
Thank you.
nice conversation, Saki. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So thank you, everyone. So this was a conversation with Ritu, and we shared something around this. Ritu is also offering a one-on-one coaching in case someone is interested. You can drop us an email at sales@eisenbridge.com. You can find the details in the description section as well. And she would be happy to assist you to find out a path which is specific for you rather than the generic one which we discussed today. Thank you.
Thank you.